This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good morning all. I hope all are able to hear me. And I just shared my screen. And yeah, so yesterday we started with one module called visualizations. As part of that module, we just covered three visualizations like a card, pie chart, a donut chart. So, as part of card visualization, we mentioned that in order to represent summary or a overall value, we are going to use card visualization, and to represent a percentage of a share, so we are going to use either a pie chart or a donut chart I mentioned. So pie chart and donut chart, we have only one extra property that I mentioned, that air donut have one more property which will convert a pie chart into donut chart, or donut chart into pie chart. So based on our requirement, we can select any one of the visualization I mentioned. So today we are going to see a couple of more visualizations. So I just loading sample data. Yes. Now, so the next visualization that I am going to represent. So now, actually, we are going to see. mm, we are going to see overall, like 7 to 9 visualizations we are going to see. Those are bar charts, line charts. Under a bar chart, we have a stacked bar chart, we have a clustered bar chart. Under line chart, line, area, stacked area, we have column chart and a bar chart, like a horizontal or a vertical. In a stacked, in a clustered also we have horizontal and vertical. So, and overall in this session, in next 20 minutes or 30 minutes of time, we are going to see 7 visualizations and understand very clearly. This is very easier to understand, so that you will be very comfortable on these 7 visualizations. Okay, so we are going to start now. Understand very clearly. So first of all, the first four I mentioned are nothing but these things. First four visuals: stacked bar, stacked column, clustered bar, clustered column. We have four visuals are there. So whenever we are using only one dimension and one value, both stacked bar and clustered bar, both are same. So before I continue with what is stacked or what is clustered, first of all, these bar charts are used to represent a comparison. Whenever we want to compare between a two values or a multiple categories, we are going to use a bar chart. So for comparison purpose, we are going to use a bar chart. Now, If I select the first visual, you can observe that this was highlighted. If I select the last visual, the fourth one got highlighted. Or if I convert the first one into first visual, the last one into third visual, it looks all are same. So whenever we have a one dimension means this one country, and one value means a sales. So whenever we have a one dimension, either stacked bar, clustered bar, both are same. So try to understand this bar visualization. What do you mean by comparison is whenever you represent in the form of a bars, we can compare United States with Canada or Canada with Mexico, and we can understand which bar is higher, so that we can easily understand this one. Okay, that is what a comparison. Now what I mentioned is whenever you use a one dimension, one value, both looks okay. Both looks okay. There is no difference between these visualizations. Till here, am I clear? If you have any questions, unmute and proceed. If you have a question, like if you don't have a question, mention no in the chat. If you have a question, unmute and proceed, or you can message there. Till here, am I clear? I mentioned 2 points. One is bar chart. We are going to use for a comparison. Point one. The second one, whenever we use only one dimension and one measure, both clustered and static, like clustered and stacked, both are same. Till here, we are good, right? Jaisindra Reddy and Ashwini. If you don't have a question, mention no in the chat. Okay. So now, as a third point, let's assume whenever you have, hey, let's assume whenever we have a second dimension, whenever we have a second dimension, let's assume segment. Let's assume if I add a second dimension here, you can observe that both are different. So as a third point, whenever you are using a two dimensions and one measure, these both visuals are different. The stacked bar is different, clustered bar is different. And similarly, if I convert this one to first one, and this if I convert this one to third one, both are different. So what is the difference between first and second is only horizontal and vertical, that's it. Okay, stacked bar means horizontal, stacked column means vertical. This also clustered bar means horizontal, clustered column is vertical. So first and second both are same, third and fourth both are same. For the first two and last two, the difference is whenever you have a two dimension, stacked bar is going to represent one on top of another, whereas clustered bar it is going to separate showcase separately. Now when you need to use, as a fourth point, when to use this one, when to use this one. So the stacked bar is used to represent a comparison with the first dimension, and the clustered bar is used when we are using with the second dimension. So whenever I mentioned clearly these two visuals are different only when we have two dimensions. If we have one dimension and one value, these all are same. There is no difference. When we have only one dimension, one value, we can use any visual. All looks okay. You can use stacked horizontal or cluster horizontal, or you can use a stacked vertical or a clustered vertical. You can use anything. But that I mentioned as my second point. As a third point, whenever we have a two dimensions, when to use a stacked bar is to compare with the first dimension. Though you have a two dimensions, but still your focus is to compare with the first two dimension. Then we are going to use a stacked bar. And similarly, though we are using a two dimensions, our focus is to represent a comparison on a second dimension. Then we are going to use clustered bar. What do you mean by that one? Like I will explain now. So first of all, bar charts are line charts for comparison purpose. If you want to compare the data, we are going to use this one. And if you have one dimension, both are all are same. If you have two dimension, we have these use cases. So let's understand what is that. Let me take a fresh visual and revise sales one dimension. So I have a country and I have a product also. So if you see this visualization, you can understand only which country is having a more sales. You can observe by seeing this visual, you can only identify which country is having a more sales. United States is having a more sales, Mexico is having a last sales, Germany is having a last but one sales, France is the third position, Canada is the second position. Though you are having a product level comparison, you can observe this product, we are having this value, we have a velo, we have this value, and by seeing this one, you cannot tell is this VTT is uh, this one. Like let's consider take this example only, or like hmm, yeah, like if you observe this one, Montana, Montana in United States is higher, or Montana in Germany is higher. By seeing this one, we cannot tell. We need to go mouse over and we need to verify that one. But what it is giving the story is at a country level, we can easily compare. United States is having highest value, Mexico is having a lowest value. So though you have a country and a product, if I still want to compare against a country which is the first dimension, then you can use a stacked bar. This is a stacked bar. Each product one after another it is going to represent, and is going to represent the highest value. Similarly, if you want to compare each product, you are not worrying about a country. If you want to represent a comparison with the product, at that time you are going to use this one, so that all the values are going to start from a zero and you can compare. Now it is very clear that this is having a highest value when compared to this bar 522 366, but I feel like this only is having a highest value 3566, it is 3644. Similarly, if you want to verify like this one also, this is having a lowest value when compared to all. So in this scenario, we are verifying at a product level, we are not worrying about a country level. So if you observe this one, if France is having a highest value or Canada is having highest value, we cannot observe by seeing this visual. So if I want a comparison at a country level, I will go with stacked. If I want to compare at a product level, I will go with a clustered level. So this is how we are going to take a decision. So let's assume if someone give you a requirement that you need to create a visual by using state wise, month wise sales information. Yes, you have a two dimensions and one value, you can use a bar chart. Then you need to ask a question. You They want to see comparison at a month level, or they want to see comparison at a state level or country level. So based on that, we are going to represent our data. Okay. So are you able to understand when to use a stacked bar, when to use a clustered bar? Anyone has any questions? If you have a question, unmute and proceed. Ashwini, Ramesh, Jai Chandra Reddy. If you don't have a question, mention no in chat. If you have any question, you can unmute and ask, or you can give me a message also there. This is very important to understand the difference between a stacked and a clustered bar.
Srinivas, can you explain once again, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
For others, any questions? Okay. So, first of all, are you there? Jai Chandra Reddy, are you there? Jai Chandra Reddy,
Yeah, Srinivas.
you are following, right?
Yeah, following.
Okay. Ashwini, are you able to hear me? Okay. So let's consider one small example. We have 2 years of a data. One is 2023, one is 2024. In both the years, we have a three products data. P1 as a 5, P2 as 7, P3 as 6. Whereas 2024, we have P1 as 8, P2 as a 4, P3 as 13, 13, 13, 18, 19, 12, 7. So the overall sales of a 2023 is 13 and 5, 18. The overall sales of a 2024 is 19. Now, if I want to compare between only years, so which means like in this scenario, my first dimension is year, my second dimension is product. Now, I have a requirement, I need to use both of them, and I need to use this one also. 3 I need to use. If I use a stacked bar, I'm going to get only two bars, 2023, 2024. What we are going to get is first P1 5, from a 5 7, and 6. Okay, and 2014 we are going to get 8, 4, 7. So if I use a stacked bar, I am going to get this one, and my major focus here is to find or compare overall this bar. I am not going to worry about these 5, 8, 7, 4, 6, 7, which one is higher. My focus is which area is having a highest. This is all about a stacked bar. First 5 will be placed on top of 5, 7. 12 is the mark will be there, and 12 to 6, 18, we have a left side mark will be there. So it is going to represent till 18. It is going to represent till 19. Okay. In a stacked bar, one top of another will be represented so that the entire bar reaches to the overall value of that year. This is all about a stacked bar. Are you able to understand till stacked bar, Ramesh Reddy?
Yes, Srinivas.
Now, so as part of stacked bar, the focus is only on first dimension comparison. The presentation will be there on a second dimension. One on top of another will come. The overall value, overall height of a bar equal to overall value of this one. So whenever we want to compare at a second dimension level, then we are going to use a stacked bar. Clustered bar we are going to use. In that scenario, you are going to get separate bars for each and every product. Like you are going to have P1, which is a 5, a P2, which is a 7, and a P3, which is a 6. You are going to get. And similarly, 2024, like you have P1, which is 8, and P2, which is a 4, and P3, which is a 7. You are going to see this one. So in this scenario, all these products are going to all these products are going to represent from 0. All are starting from a 0. We are not starting one on top of another. All are starting from a 0. Because all are starting from a 0, like it will be represented a 5 only, it will be represented 7 only, it is represented 6 only. So same x-axis is going to shade by all the products, y-axis is going to shade by all the products, and you can easily compare the P1 here with the P1 here, P2 here with the P2 here, but you cannot compare the overall year with the overall year at a single glance. You need to combine all these things, and you need to combine all these things, then only you are going to say this is having a higher value. So in this context, the comparison is only represented here. In this context, the comparison is represented here. So whenever you want to compare anything, and whenever you are having a two dimensions, at that time you need to understand which dimension you want to compare. If you want to compare with the first dimension, you need to go with either stacked column or stacked bar. If you want to compare it here, either you can go with like a clustered bar or clustered column charts. These are all about the first four visualizations that we have. Till here, anyone has any questions? Okay. So the next one is the first bar, all bar charts that I mentioned. Those are for comparison only. Like whenever you want to compare a segment or product or color or size or any other category, if you want to compare, we are going to use this one. But whenever you are having a date based column, somewhere you are having a date, whenever you are having a date at that time, okay, so that is fine. Present data and fit this visual. Definition cannot be found. Okay, the column date is not found. Okay, that is fine. So whenever you have a date or a year or a month, and so if you want to compare based on the dates, so in this scenario, like currently we are at, like though they are mentioned it as, just a second. So we are at year, we are at a quarter, and we are at a month, and we are at a date. So we have, this is the data. So whenever we have a date based data or year based data or month based data, so in the given context we have a less number of data only. I think they have one physical year of data that they have, or 2 years of data that they have, from September 13 to November 14. But if you are having a more data, we are going to get a more bars. Okay, more lines we are going to have. If you are using this bar chart, you are going to get like this. I have less data. For this one, you are getting these many bars. But if I have more number of dates, I'm going to get a more bars. In that scenario, comparing this bar against this bar or this bar against this bar, it would be difficult. So in that scenario, instead of using a bar chart, we are going to use a line chart. So line chart is going to showcase the trend. This will be easier to understand, easy to compare. So the bar chart and a line chart both are for comparison only. But bar chart is non date based columns, whereas line chart for date based columns. So whenever you want to compare a date or year, month, quarter, week, day, so if you want to compare those things, if you are using a bar, if you are using a bar, we are going to get a multiple bars will be there. For easy understanding, we are going to represent a line. If you are unable to understand through a line, you have an option called area. The only difference between a line and area is, in a line chart, you are going to represent only line. In a area chart, that line is filled with some color. Okay. So there is no other difference between these two visualizations. Till here, am I clear? So my points here are, for date based comparisons, we are going to use a line chart. That is my first point. And the line and area both are same. The only difference is the line will be filled with some color, that is area chart. Am I clear so far on these 2 points? Anyone has any questions? Okay. So now the third one that we have is stacked area chart. So the by default whatever we have, like line or area, both are having a behavior of clustered. Both are having a behavior of a clustered, which means that whatever the value that you added, all are going to start from a zero only. So if you observe here, you are having a one category called profit 763703, and you are having a sales which are having a 448400. If, like, if you combine these two things, it will cross, like more value, this one more than, like, it is going to cross 5 million, but still it is under the range, and still it is like, if you are not adding a profit, whatever the level that we have here, the same level it is going to be there. Like, I'm adding a profit here. So like, though we got this one for the sake of this one, but you are at here only 4484 only. It is not at 5 or something. So even if you add any number of categories, the range is not reaching out of the maximum value that we have, which is nothing but all are starting from a zero. And in order to compare individual values, we are going to use this one. Whereas stacked area is nothing but one top of another one, it is going to represent. First one value is represented, then after another value that reaches to 5 million plus, on top of that another value was represented. So this is a stacked area. You already know what is a clustered, what is a stacked. So whenever we are working with a time based comparisons, and whenever we have a two values, at that time if you want to compare a first one, like, you can go with stacked. If you want to go with the first one, you can go with the stacked area. If you want to go with the second dimension, that is a default clustered behavior, line or area will be used. These are all the functionalities of a 7 visualizations: stacked two visuals, clustered two visuals, line and area. Then after area chart. These are the 7 visualization. Till here, anyone has any questions? Okay. So I suggest to practice till here, and there are another, like another 5 visuals are there, or 6 visuals are there similar to that behavior. We'll continue and discuss those 5 visuals, like 100% stacked bar, 100% like horizontal and vertical 100% stacked bars. Then after combo charts, like line with bar charts. Then after ribbon chart, we are going to see these 6 or 7 visuals tomorrow morning. Then after, for all these charts, the properties we are going to cover, because the properties are common for all these charts. So till here, just to practice, and I will cover remaining visuals and the properties tomorrow morning. People who ever not attended yesterday morning session, please go through and see the visuals. If Naresh not upload a video, he will upload by afternoon. Yesterday he is off because of some personal emergency. You just practice till here.
Sure, Srinivas. Yesterday video not uploaded.
Yeah, like I'll ask him, like he's not came to office. Like I will ask him to upload that video by 11. Please go
Okay,
through that. And I'm not covered much. Only three visuals I covered. And today also, like whatever the visuals that I covered, just understand the functionality. So we'll revise them along with other six pending visuals tomorrow morning, and I will cover the properties. I'm stopping here. We'll continue tomorrow at the same time.
okay.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all. Have a good day.